The spread of Baathism took off after 1948, when lack of Arab unity was held responsible for the loss of Palestine and the defeat of Arab forces to the new state of Israel. Claiming to speak for the entire Arab world, Baath Party branches sprang up in Iraq, Jordan and Lebanon in the 1950s. And the social reforms introduced by them had a profound impact on Arab society. Jordanian medical doctor Sahar Shammas believes that their secularist approach allowed women for the first time to be active members in society.
I
joined the Baath Party full stop. I didn't choose it because it was Iraqi, but for what it stands for. I went to study in Iraq and found many privileges guaranteed to the citizen. Free education up to university level for Iraqi and Arab students. I was an Arab student in Iraq. I enjoyed those same privileges. I didn't pay for my studies. Accommodation was provided. I spent the first 6 months, then I came back to Jordan at half-term. The secret services demanded my presence, and they asked me about the Baath Party. At this point, I began to wonder who the Baath Party were. So I researched and found out that their ideology was extremely attractive.
By 1957, Baathists controlled the Syrian government, but faced considerable competition from both Antoun Saadeh's Syrian Socialist Nationalist Party, which was fundamentally opposed to Arab nationalism, and the Communist Party, whose support for class struggle and internationalism was abhorrent to the Baath. Determined to turn their dream of Arab unity into a reality, the Syrian Baathists began to look for suitable partners.
The mood after '56 was one of great Arab solidarity and the sense of triumph. The permanent challenge of Israel was there. The existence of Abdel Nasser, who had regenerated the call for Arab unity, which to many Baathists would look as if he's repeating what they had already said since the 30s.
Baathists visited President Nasser and proposed that Syria and Egypt should unite. Nasser agreed. The two countries were merged in 1958, with Cairo as the capital. The new United Arab Republic abolished Syrian and Egyptian citizenship, termed its inhabitants Arabs, and called the country Arab territory. It considered the Arab homeland to be the entire area between the Arabian Gulf and the Atlantic coast. All Arabs were invited to become nationals. Arabs were thrilled by the union. But celebrations would quickly prove to be premature.
Problems occurred when we were asked to dissolve the Arab Socialist Baath Party. We accepted solely for the sake of Arab unity and unity with Egypt. And so our leaders agreed to disband the party.
By late 1959, however, Baathists were angered at being barred from power in a union that some Syrians felt more closely approached Egypt's occupation of Syria.
آنذاك كما هو معروف كان في قوة شنيعة للمخابرات المصرية.
The era was marked by the Egyptian Secret Service controlling the Union.
من نظرة أمنية استخبارية وهذا خلى في داخل الشعب السوري.
This aggravated the Syrians.
والمعارضة المسألة هاي. علاوة على ذلك البعثيين القدامى داخل الحزب.
Former Baathists who remained in Syria realized their miscalculation in disbanding the party and began remobilizing party members, especially from the army, until the partition took place.
The crisis point was reached in 1961, when Syrian units of the United Arab Republic Army in Damascus launched a cessationist coup. Following limited fighting, Nasser decided against enforcing union militarily. The breakup of the United Arab Republic was a tremendous blow to Nasser's prestige. The dream for both Nasserites and Baathists of pan-Arab unity, if not dead, then was in need of life support. In 1963, Nasser tried again, and there were more negotiations, this time between Egypt, Syria and Iraq. But there would never be a repeat of the United Arab Republic. The Ba'ath and Nasser carried Arab nationalism to the summit of its achievements, and the breakup demonstrated deep differences in Arab visions for unity.
The big paradox about the Ba'ath in itself is that after having failed to unite with Abdel Nasser in 1963, when the Ba'ath came to power in both Syria and Iraq, the obvious question was, if we can't unite with Abdel Nasser, how come Syria and Iraq could not unite? Now, the issue was a big conflict between the pan-Arab leadership of the Ba'ath, headed by Michel Afla, and the local Syrian and Iraqi leadership.
Following the humiliating Arab defeat by Israel in 1967, Iraqi and Syrian civilian Ba'athist leaders were overthrown by military officers.
They acted like an army of the Third World, a common phenomenon in developing countries. They hijacked the name of Ba'ath, and since 1966, the party has been just an empty facade.
After many trials and tribulations, the Ba'ath in Syria came to rest in 1970 under Hafiz al-Assad, a master of realpolitik who put Syria's interests first. For lack of better alternatives, Arab nationalists fixed their hopes first on the Palestinians and finally on Saddam Hussein to uphold the spirit of Arab unity. By moving away from original Ba'athist principles, the party in both Syria and Iraq, under Hafiz al-Assad and Saddam Hussein, was no longer considered central.
Not only they didn't manage to unite, what was worse is that they became two enemy regimes, two enemy states. That is one of course, the flagrant contradictions of the Ba'ath in power, the Ba'ath in practice.
Hussein considered himself the defender of Arabs against Iranian invasion, and backed by the whole Arab world, fought Iran from 1981 to 88.
Psychologically, Arabs are always looking for a hero to the extent that they create one if he doesn't exist. They found in Saddam Hussein a unique hero, backed him unconditionally, and the rest is history.
In fact, the party itself, in both cases, was very much reduced with the rise of the two strong men, Hafiz al-Assad and Saddam Hussein. And that to the benefit of first the army, then the intelligence services, and then the families. We call it jamlaka in Arabic, a mixture of republicanism and monarchy. Once a republican regime starts delegating power to the sons or the brothers of the rulers, so one of the basic characteristics of republicanism is defeated. Yes.
Nationalist thinkers like Antoun Saadeh, Michel Aflaq and Salah Bitar had promised that unity would bring liberation. But in the hands of actual practitioners, it had become a whip of domination, wielded by some Arabs over others.
The more catastrophic aspects of Arab unity were the late Ba'athi aspects, in which were represented by the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait, which of course has blunted and has done so much harm to the idea of Arab unity, and the Syrian mandate and control and hegemony over Lebanon. So the Ba'ath party, rather than succeed in uniting the two countries, it took over power, and each went and tried to dominate, if not merge, and settleize a smaller and weaker neighbor.
In 1982, Saddam Hussein dismissed pan-Arabism as no longer acceptable to Arab mentality, and that it must not be imposed on the 22 sovereign nations of the Arab world. Ironically, in 1990, Saddam invaded Kuwait, declaring it a province of Iraq, claiming, however, that this was an Iraqi legal right and not an act of nationalist unification. The nationalist vision and ideals of men like Antoun Saadeh, Salah Bitar and Michel Aflaq, in the end, had very little to do with their implementation.
Is that because they're too romantic, or is it because of the way they were applied is an open question, but romantic ideas at times build society. I mean, visionaries build societies. You need to be a visionary to change society.
International interference in the form of Western Allied armies and United Nations sanctions after the Gulf War of 1990 helped the concept of Arab nationalism retreat, almost to its point of origin, where the Arab world finds itself fighting foreign domination yet again.